Hi guys. After I did my song yesterday, I think it was "Can't Stop Loving You." Um, I was just digging through some old video. I have like mountains of content and stuff that I've just got sitting in my phone. But I saw the two little videos that I had of my hot rod, so I threw those up for all of the motor geeks out there, the wrench heads. I grew up in the San Fernando Valley out here in Los Angeles, and it was really that culture. I mean, we were at the drag races all the time, and the smell of nitromethanol fuel and burning rubber to me is like heaven. It's like bacon to some people, I guess. But I've always loved cars, I love machinery, and that's why my hands are full of stitches, because I've done a lot of work over the years. And there's there's always that moment when that wrench is about to break that nut, and then it does, and then the next thing is your knuckle hits something. Or I remember being under one of my cars working one day on a creeper, a little rolling bed to get you underneath there, and rolled back, and my hair rolled into the wheel of it and turned into a knot, and I laid there for probably 40 minutes before I was able to finally just rip the hair out and get out, because I was absolutely stuck in there. But it was fun throwing those up. I love that car. It's actually sitting at a friend of mine is a mechanic, and it's sitting in his garage right now because have enough of a leak in the radiator where it had to be recored, and there's only one place that we could find in California that can do these. So we pulled it out and shipped it up to them. And then the virus hit and their shop closed down. So I'm in a holding pattern waiting for them to open up again so they can recore the radiator and ship it back. And then I can put it back in the car and then hit the streets again. But I was just kind of going through a whole bunch of things today. I was thinking about playing because I just finished doing an a cappella with Judith Owen, and we're in the process with the immediate family of putting together a video for our first single, which is Cruel Twist. And we're all going to have to shoot separate things and then get them all to an editor to make some semblance of sense out of all of it. It's a whole new thing going on here. It's pretty crazy. And today is National Nurses Day, so I think it's important to really give them extra shout out today to all the nurses out there that are working so hard on a daily basis. I was also talking a bit about, like, when I picked up bass the first time in junior high school, and I talked about my music instructor. And there's something about having people like, his name was Ted Lynn, Theodore Lynn. He was a violinist, concert violinist. But he came into my life and changed my life. And that's what great teachers do. You are, at that point in your life, you're a sponge, man. And it's what they put into you that really can make a difference in your life. And he completely changed my life by introducing me to bass and encouraging me and giving me some rudimentary lessons on it. And we had some amazing people that came out of my high school. Sally Fields was in there, Cindy Williams, a whole bunch of really, really talented people in theater arts. I mean, it was a time when that was encouraged in school, which is really heartbreaking now to see how many schools are willing to lose for financing their liberal arts programs, be it dance, painting, theater, music. We had amazing people. One of our trumpet players in high school graduated high school on Friday, and on Monday he was in Stan Kenton's band playing mellophonium. So, I mean, it's all out there. In fact, I was digging through yesterday, and here's a scary thing. How about a high school graduation picture? I'm not going to give you enough time to dwell on that unless you probably put it on freeze frame. But I was also thinking about, like, a lot of the early projects. I'm flying all over today. I don't know. I came in here and the dummy was gone. He left me a note and just apologized for what I've been doing and said he's better than this, and left. Said he might be back. Who knows? We'll see. But I was thinking about some of the old sessions, and one of the things that really I miss on old projects that we used to do was time. And I'm not talking about drummer's time or musical time. I'm talking about just time where the budgets were there and there wasn't somebody giving you that watch, come on guys, we got to get out of here. We got 4 tracks to cut and we got 3 hours to do it in. I mean, we used to spend time just developing things. And I was thinking about, like, I remember on one of James Taylor's early records, he had a line in one of the songs that was letting the time go by. And he was just singing, letting the time go by, singing it as a normal thing. And he wanted something different. So we had the time where he sang the line, we reversed the tape, he wrote it out phonetically backwards and sang it backwards, recorded it. Then we flipped the tape over. So it came out enunciated, but instead of letting the time go by, it just changed the whole complexion of it. And it was so great. And another time we put together a voice organ where it was, each track was a different tone. And when it came down to actually mixing, everybody was at the console and we had rehearsed faders. So as everybody, we could make clusters of voices. It sounded like, like take 6 and the high-lows and all these people put together. I mean, it was like you do these, or like one performance of Jacob Collier. But it was great. I mean, it was such a unique opportunity to really experiment in the studio with things. When I did Gene Clark's No Other album, which is finally seeing the light of day as the really amazing piece of work that was. Gene Clark was the original singer in the Byrds, and then he went solo. He lived a pretty troubled life, but when we did this album, it was a remarkable album. And on No Other, like, they gave me free rein. I think I have 6 basses on the track, distortion, octave dividers, piccolo, all kinds of stuff. And probably one of the best moments on that whole thing was Joe Cocker we cut it at Village Recorders in, I think it was in, which I forget what studio numbers they are there. It's the first studio as you walk in. I think it was B or 2. But Joe was in the next room, and he apparently came wandering into the studio while we were recording and sat behind the console. And this one song we were doing was like pulling teeth. It was, I mean, it's not so much, there was a lot of angst in the room and we were really focused on this thing. And it's one of those things, like, you're in the take, in the moment, and everybody's kind of looking at each other going, this is it, this is the one. And Joe apparently got so into it. He was sitting behind the board in there just going for it, and ended up reaching down and hitting the talkback button and letting out one of those great Cocker screams like you would hear in the middle of Little Help from My Friends, literally blowing everybody's headphones off their heads. And Gene tore down the vocal booth to get to Joe to kill him. And Joe's people dragged him down the hall back to his studio and locked the door so Gene couldn't get in there. Now we listened back to the tape, and you would have sworn that somebody took a razor blade and cut the tape. Everybody stopped instantly together. And we had to call that day off because everybody's ears, it was like the ultimate case of tinnitus going on, the ringing in our heads. But, oh, Jesus, sorry. Oh, goodness gracious, messages and crap going on here. So I'm really scattered today, and I thought, if you're really scattered, why not just play a great song, totally not the way it was recorded? And that always brings me back to Judith Owen. And one of the songs we recorded on her last album was Black Hole Sun by Soundgarden. Now, Black Hole Sun to me is a brilliant piece of material. I think it's great. There was a movie called The Postman with Kevin Costner about the future, and the future is always horrible and bleak in these movies. But there was a campfire. I worked on the music for the movie, and there was like a campfire scene where these people were all kind of sitting around, And the idea was that they were just going to be acoustic and they were going to play like oldies. And they, like they were pulling up like doo-wop. And we're kind of sitting looking at the music people going, this is the future. Oldies might be something, more like Soundgarden or Toad the Wet Sprocket or, some other kind of, Nirvana or something like that. So we ended up doing an acoustic version of Black Hole Sun, which was really cool for the movie. But Judith has a unique way, when it's not her material, she's a monstrous writer. Her original material is really incredible. But when she does covers of other people's music and takes them on, she really puts a completely other spin on things. So she ended up taking Black Hole Sun and treating it like Dave Brubeck was doing it in Five. And so just for the moment, I figured I would take a stab at that. I queued it up, and we'll see what happens here. I haven't played this once again in a little while. I wish I had time to be more prepared for these things, because some of these I'm really flying by the seat of my pants trying to remember them. But I'm starting to log a list of songs like Toto songs and more Billy Cobham, and there's still more Phil songs and James Taylor and Jackson Browne and all kinds of stuff. So I'm going to be here a long time. I hope you guys stick around with me, because I don't intend to leave, especially if the veil is lifted. I'll still be the man behind the curtain for you. So here's Black Hole Sun, the way Judith Owen hears it.
No one knows hides the face when lies the snake. The sun in my disgrace spotted. It's almost edged with the black. The sky looks dead on my name. And through the cream, I need to scream again.
Hold on a minute. That is completely terrible. So I'm gonna jump in one more time rather than re-talking this whole thing.
My eyes indisposed in disguise, 'cause no one knows.
Sorry about that.
When lies the snake, the sun in my disgrace spotted. It's almost edged with the black. The sky looks dead on my name. And through the cream, I need to scream again. Black hole sun, won't you come? Wash away the rain. Black hole sun, won't you come? Won't you come? Black hole sun, won't you come? Wash away the rain. Black hole sun, won't you come? Oh, won't you come?
Yeah.
Stuttering, cold and damp, steal the warm with tired friend. Time to dawn for honest men, and sometimes far too long for snakes in my shoes. Walking, sleeping, my youth, I'm free to keep heaven sent. I head away, 'cause no one seems like you. Black hole sun, won't you come? Wash away the rain. Black hole sun, won't you come? Won't you come? Black hole sun, won't you come? Wash away the rain. Black hole sun, won't you come? Won't you come? Oh, won't you come? Black hole sun, won't you come? Wash away the rain. Black hole sun, won't you come? Won't you come? Black hole sun, won't you come? Wash away
not a great performance, but it's just cool. I just love the whole vibe of the 5/4 on it. I'll have to practice these a little bit better before I jump into them. It's been a busy day. I'm just a little toasty here, and it's still early in the day. You know, getting into some serious heat. It's supposed to be 100 degrees, and I'm not a good heat person. I retain heat rather than exuding heat. So I'm going to go over this whole list of things and think of a whole bunch of other songs. People have been sending in suggestions. Some of them I'm going to do for sure. Some of them are production-wise so massive that it would be really hard to do them sitting here with this little tiny speaker and this loud amp and this weird balance, because a lot of times it's really hard for me sitting here to hear the actual pulse of it, and I feel myself getting a little off, because one of the things I pride myself in is pocket. And pocket is such an internalized clock, and like groove and pocket are probably two of the most elusive words to describe adequately with words. I mean, it's something that just is. It's your internal clock, it's your internal pulse, how you're breathing and your metabolism with the music. And if I can't hear like the pocket that the drums are playing or something, it gets really squirrely sometimes. But live, it's never an issue, because we are in a sonic balance that really, when you know, the placement and everything makes that really easy. Also, I'm gonna try to dig them up. I talked to a whole bunch of different drummers about their reflections on Jeff Porcaro. Now, Jeff was one of my dearest friends, and we did hundreds of albums together. And the day he passed was one of the worst days of my life, and I miss him tremendously. That was a bad year, losing Jeff and Carlos Vega and Larry London all at the same time. But I sat around with guys and just said, you know, tell me stories about Jeff. I got Jim Keltner and John Robinson, Neil Wilkinson over in England, Kirkby Bescara. I've got Bill Schnee, the fabulous producer who did a lot with him. So I'm going to dig those up, and I'll post those too on my page, because they're really touching. I mean, Jeff had a huge impact on people's lives, and it's really great getting these stories from the guys. So I'm going to get onto that. Once again, Nurses Day. It's Nurses Day, man. All the best to all you nurses that are working your butts off every day in the most difficult of circumstances. Everybody who's working so hard at this. Again, you know, I think about you every day, and you know, there's no real end in sight as of now. So, you know, these people are really strained to the max. So give them space. You know, when you see somebody, you know, if they need to get in line somewhere, let them get in line ahead of you. Just not in that big a hurry. You know, let them get back to work. So you guys take good care. Hope everybody's safe and sound out there. I'm having a great time. Invite your friends if you know anybody who would like to come here and hang out, because the more I do this, either the lamer I'm going to get, because I'm understanding it more. It's like the first time I went bowling, and I bowled an unbelievably great game, and I started thinking about, oh man, the angle and all immediately sucked and just was terrible. So I'm going to try to maintain my first game mentality here, and not get into a routine and start thinking about what the hell I'm doing here. But loving it. Love all the comments. I'm having just the best time with you all. I'm not going to go there again. It's fun. I'm really enjoying it. It's really helping my days move nicely, because it gives me something to look forward to every day here. So you take care. I will see you tomorrow.